I'm going to tell you about some drama that you probably don't know about, and you're probably confused that I'm covering at the current moment. Valko. Don't even know what Valko is, do you? Love and Deep Space. Ever hold those two words? Ever even consider those two words? Well, yesterday I took a really big deep dive into discovering that a character was canceled from a gacha game because the fans kept sending cow dung and a bunch of specific flowers that represent funerals, basically sending threats of the death variety to a specific company that made Love and Deep Space all over this character right here. They were going crazy saying this character is disgusting. I hate him. You gotta focus on the main 5 characters, because I had assumed it was as simple as, hey, the main 5 characters were not getting enough love and attention, and they don't like this character. He's too Western. He looks too macho, masculine, and homosexual. And I was talking about the beauty standards of China and how they prefer petite men and men that look like they're very skin deprived and very white skinned. They don't want characters that look dark, which is part of the reason. That is still part of the reason. That doesn't change anything. In Asian cultures, Korea and China, they don't like darker skin tones because it represents impurities in the skin, and they like a lot of skin bleaching, especially in South Korea. Plastic surgery is a common thing, specific nose shape. The beauty standards there are skinny and very specifically just that. That's what it's, skinny and white. That's kind of what it is. And it doesn't have to do with American culture in any capacity. It's just to show that white skin is purity, black skin is seen as impurities. It shows that you don't have to be in the sun as long. It's a whole thing. Now you could say that's wildly racist. That's just been a beauty standard for quite some time. I believe even before black people became in the mainstream of that variety, that's just been a beauty standard for a while, because whiteness gets you closer to purity, because white is pure. So that's what the entirety was there. And this character was too dark, is what they were saying. He's too dark. And this is too dark for China. They don't want him to be a thing. Now, to me, he looks hot. I think he looks very hot. And the international player base was very happy with the character. Like, oh my god, this is for international fans. Global players are so happy about this. We want Valko. It'll be so happy to get Valko. This would be so fun. I love this. This would be amazing to do. And even this guy is making a whole thing. You can report that app. You can do that. It's fraud because you were supposed to do that. This is disgusting. They were promised all this stuff and we didn't get it. You can report the app for fraud, trying to destroy the entirety of the company. And they even issued this whole apology letter saying, hey, guys, to our dedicated fan base, we're really sorry. Now, this is my first initial thought on it. I'm going to tell you right now before I get into the real bigger reasons of what was happening here. Chinese player bases represent a large part of mobile games. There are more whales in Chinese player bases than there are in American player bases. And when you're getting death threats and receiving all this cow dung and all this stuff from all these things, and they're flipping off the main statue in front of your offices, you're going to appease to those player bases, because that's how pressure works. So you focus on one issue, have all this hate and downpour. That's how pressure works. It gets bad. They were sending crazy things to this company. It was disgusting and bad. In China, they immediately backed down. They were saying, you know, we're sorry. We're gonna fix it all for you guys and do all that stuff. Now, here goes the bigger reason. Let's start with reason number 1. I'm reading through this entire mess, and from what I've seen from the Chinese girlies is that Experiment 731 were legitimate experiments that happened in World War II and is extremely sensitive topic in China. It killed thousands. So many are disturbed by it being directly referenced and used as a major plot point. This is a major plot point in the story apparently, and a lot of people I've checked on the Chinese stuff are really upset about this plot point. Now, if you don't know what Unit 731 is, Unit 731, Japanese Hepburn, is officially known as the Manchu Detachment 731, and also referred to as the Kamo Detachment, and the Ishii Unit was a secret research facility operated by the Imperial Japanese Army between 1933 and 1945. It was located in Pingfang district of Harbin in the Japanese puppet state of Manchukuo, now part of the northeast China, and maintained multiple branches across mainland China and Southeast Asia. Unit 731 was responsible for large-scale biological and chemical warfare research, as well as lethal human experimentation. The facility was led by General Shiro Ishii and received support from the Japanese military. Its activities included infecting prisoners with deadly diseases, conducting vivisection, performing organ harvesting, testing hyperbaric chambers, manipulating limbs, and exposing victims to chemical agents and explosives. Prisoners, often referred to as logs by the staff, were mainly Chinese civilians, but also included Russian, Koreans, and other, including children and pregnant women. No documented survivors are known. An estimated 14,000 people were taken inside the facility itself. In addition, biological weapons tests developed by Unit 731 caused the deaths of at least 200,000 people in Chinese cities and villages through deliberate contamination of water supplies, food, and agricultural land. After the war, 12 Unit 731 members were tried by the USSR in the 1945 Khabarovsk war crimes trial and sentenced to prison. However, many key figures, including Ishii, were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for their research data. This is showing you how fun America is. The Truman administration concealed the unit's crimes and paid stipends to former personnel. However, the internal information was not of significant value, as the U.S. biological programs had by that point surpassed the capabilities of Unit 731. So we were way worse than China. We were way worse than Japan in this variety. The USSR likely also handed out relatively lenient sentences at the Khabarovsk trials in exchange for information and used Japanese documentation to build its biological weapons facility in Sverdlovsk. Learning about history always pisses me off so deeply. Yeah, you guys committed all these horrifying war crimes, but could I have some war crimes too? Could I do some evil? Come on now. Can we do that? Can we please do that? Please? On 28th of August 2002, the Tokyo District Court formally acknowledged Japan had conducted biological warfare in China and held the state responsible for related deaths. This is disgusting. The whole thing is very nasty, and you can look up these specific things about vivisection and stuff of that variety. I don't want to read all this stuff because it agitates the hell out of me learning about it, but that's one of the bigger implications and reasonings behind why they were so upset about this entire thing. Apparently, the banner where he shows up outside MC's apartment is a direct reference to a real criminal stalking case that happened in China. I've seen people say some of the voice lines are very similar to details from that case, though I can't personally verify whether that's true. If it is true, I think there's a difference between exploring a fantasy and fiction and potentially drawing direct inspiration from real life stalking cases involving an actual victim. So that's also disgusting as well. That's very, very, very nasty. Very nasty. It's just disgusting to see in that variety. They haven't updated the main story for like 500 days. This is the bigger reason too. And I guess this guy was going to be the update to the main story. So the other Lees will be referenced but won't be in the M's. I don't know what this means. Main story. The other Lees will be not main story, I imagine. And they want regular main story updates. This is the bigger reason too. This is what I talked about in my initial video about how the main characters aren't getting as much love overall. That's a huge issue there. There was some sort of material, I don't know if it was official or not because I looked for it, but I can't find it anywhere. Valko was teasing the other leads, and some girls have interpreted this as Valko being bisexual. I don't agree with this one personally, but it's just from what I've seen floating around. So there's a lot of complaints about this too, because in China, it's not very LGBTQ friendly in China. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you know if the CCP state of China is very bisexual friendly. It is not at all. Thailand is very friendly. In Japan, there's certain areas, especially in Osaka and Oshu, that are very, very, very friendly. But no, not in China. Not in China. It's not. Just some other complaints overall. His overall character and lack of effort from info, and all the banners are incredibly intense and constantly are happening back to back, which puts players in a tough position. It's really interesting to see all this, and I don't know if this one's really verified here. It seems wrong to read this. My Chinese friend explained the current situation to me, and I used ChatGPT to translate it to English. I don't know, unless they speak Chinese. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna read all this. The whole issue with the new main love interest was revealed. Many players thought he was attractive, but the bigger complaint was that introducing a new love interest would take away from the game's already limited resources. They felt Paper Games had neglected their favorite characters for a long time, yet suddenly introduced someone new. People were saying things like, "You haven't updated the character I love, but you have time to make a new one. What do you think of my favorite? What do you think my favorite character is? I spent money for my favorite character and now using it to support someone else. My money should only be used for my favorite character," which is horribly parasocial and strange and odd. And I think you don't get to decide that realistically. I understand they're putting money into the game for updates and stuff of that variety, but it's also to the developers to decide what they add to updates to the game. I feel as though this is a really strange complaint. I just feel like that's odd. Maybe it's American mindset versus Chinese mindset. Maybe that's what I'm not understanding. It might be just a cultural difference. I believe that's the biggest thing there. And China's female-oriented game community organizing rights protections campaigns is very common. You can think of it as an online version of a large-scale protest. Whenever players are dissatisfied, they often organize massive online campaigns together. See, it's a culture thing. I didn't know it was a culture thing. That's just a culture thing, it seems. Seems to be just a bigger culture thing I didn't understand. After protesting for a day or two, Paper Games still did not promise to remove the new love interest, so emotions escalated. At that point, people who already wanted Paper Games to fail allegedly joined in and began searching for every possible mistake the company had ever made. Players who felt ignored became even more emotional after being encouraged by others. Some demanded refunds, wanted the game to shut down, and even imagined a special offline version that would continue to let them play. As emotions continue building, more and more criticism does accusation against Paper Games, among them the issue involving 731, because 731 related to, we already read about 731, we already know about that. We learned, right? Guys, did we learn this as a family? Did we learn that as a family? I just want to let you know, guys, we learned that as a family. I taught you about history today, and I'm happy you can walk away from this video learning something about history. That's beautiful for us, right? That's beautiful. So it's whole thing 731 right now. China's opinion, that's just ChatGPT summary. I don't care about that much. So, bada bing, bada boom. People who don't even play the game become the controversy appearing 731, seeing both 731 and human experiments mentioned together to believe there is no excuse and want Paper Games to face severe punishment. So, Paper Games are provoking players again in the middle of the night. Why post this so late? Are they following American time instead of Chinese time? And I gotta point this out. This is also a very important issue. Chinese players and Chinese people care about China. I don't know a better way to phrase it other than that. They care about China. If you think that, and this is to the international players specifically, and I know there's a lot of international players that care about the game a lot and love Deep Space. It's a very fun game for them. You are not the main money maker for them. Even I know as an American consumer and somebody that relies on American ad revenue, I know that in China, the main player base, especially with the Bilibili stuff going on right now, which I'm not going to talk too deep about, make like a video about the Bilibili stuff later. China's market is in China. If a Chinese developer disrespects China, especially on a mobile game, which is the biggest, I gotta show you this because you guys, a lot of people don't know what I mean when I say this. I feel as though people don't understand what I mean when I say this because it's very important to bring this up, especially in every context. How big are mobile games, right? How big are mobile games? Because people don't understand how big mobile games are, right? Financially, they're huge. They're huge. They are huge. They are huge. They make so much money. They make so much money. In revenue, they make insane amount of money. Making mobile games is easy, but making them profitable is crazy. Give me 1 second. Hold up a second. Because let's see. I'm gonna find. I found an article a while back. Yeah, it's bad. So what I'm discovering, what you got to discover about mobile games is mobile games money. Well, mobile games market size. Mobile games revenue. Here it goes. Mobile games make a lot of money. Mobile games make a lot of money. Global games revenue cracked 200 billion. Total top grossing games. You look at the top grossing games overall, you can see that's a lot of mobile games. Here goes the games. Honor of Kings, Last War Survival, Roblox, Monopoly Go, PUBG, Candy Crush, Pokemon, Coin Master, Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, Honkai Star Rail. Revenue in the billions right here. They make crazy money. They make crazy money overall. They just make disgusting money. It's the apps. The revenue is going crazy. They make so much money. It's disgusting. They make wild money. So these hyper casual games, like moms are playing these games, Candy Crush, they're playing all this stuff, Toon Blast, Tower Escape, Clash Royale, they're playing all these games, and gacha games with these whales for spending so much money on these games. I play Solo Leveling Arise, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I have not spent $1 on it, and I'm so far behind on banners and stuff of that variety. If you see a person like a very, not a big YouTuber, but one of my favorite YouTubers that I watch with stuff like this, it's Jack the Bus. You guys probably don't know Jack the Bus. Spends a lot of money on a lot of mobile games. Just Jack the Bus spends a lot of money on a lot of mobile games. This guy just, he's playing Bounty Rush all the time. That's all he does, just kind of spend money. He spends money on banners. He wastes a bunch of money on the games and the My Hero games, and he spends like hundreds of dollars a stream just to satisfy the inane addiction and craving to this stuff. So that's the reality there. So back to this right quick. We got player games provoking things. So Chinese players care about Chinese stuff, and mobile games are a huge market. That's the entire thing there. The submarine around 80 years ago during China, we already know about that. We got that going on there. I think the issue is also related to the 6 male protagonist itself. People feel the resources will be divided, all that stuff, bada bing, bada doom. I think there goes that. And it's just like this whole thing. So that's it's a very interesting discussion here. And take this with a grain of salt. Allegedly, dev team is threatening to leave if they don't release Valko because they spent 2 years working on him, and he was the most loved design alongside Silas, and the CEO is in hot water with the government, and they're holding emergency meetings with all the investors because the Chinese government is demanding a shutdown of the company. PPG due to the mention of Unit 731 altogether, and the CEO is trying to save the company. This is bigger than the fandom and the game itself. So I'd like to talk about this one specifically because of the implications of 731 and all the fan backlash. This is getting bigger than what I even thought was humanly possible from just a mobile game. Just what I thought was humanly possible from a simple mobile game. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy to see. It's wild and inane, and it's just scary to see all this stuff happen. I have a deep fear for the sense of loneliness that comes with games like this overall. I don't think the game is a gooner game or a depraved game. I think it's because of the romantic attachments that came with Love in Deep Space. People are going haywire and wild because they're dissatisfied with a specific piece of a video game. And I wish Americans could organize like this when we have complaints about stuff, but we have so many games that we can't focus on this. I think Love in Deep Space, I thought Love in Deep Space wasn't that big of a game, but I made the video yesterday and people came out the woo-woo. I got emails. People were saying, thank you for covering this. None of my favorite content creators are covering this. This is scary. So I thought I'd cover this just for you guys. This is strictly for you, because I feel like this is a very important issue that needs a lot more attention on it. And I don't want you guys to feel alone in this fight that you're having for the games you love and the game you love, especially with this. And I apologize for yesterday mentioning that it might be a gooner game. It is not. It's not a gooner game. It's actually a very love-filled, very heartfelt game where you get these beautiful characters that you get to play with. And I don't want to disrespect you guys in any capacity, because I don't want you guys to send cow dung to my house, which would be horrifying. But also on the fact of the matter that I think that this game, and games in general, and games of this variety, are a problem overall. I think the game is a problem overall simply by virtue of the intensity and the emotions you feel because of what the game provides for you that you're not getting in real life. You know what I mean? It's horrifying to see that. And I think that this situation is so big and so vast and so disgustingly large that it's escaping spaces that they wouldn't even think was possible. I hope Paper Cup Games? Whatever it's called, Paper. I hope the Paper Games, they don't get annihilated. I hope they don't lose their company over one character they felt very passionate about because of either the Experiment 731 or the passionate design put behind it, and it's too Western or too muscular or too bisexual. It's very strange. Yaoi still isn't accepted, and this may go further. And this is happening at the tail end of Pride Month. Oh my god, this Pride Month's over and immediately we're coming with, we don't want gays in our game, immediately in China. Pride Month is strictly an American thing though, so very interesting, very interesting. Thank you guys so much for checking out my video. Let me know your thoughts and complaints down in the comment section down below. If you guys want to help me, I'm having a very big issue right now. I have GoFundMe setups. I need to move from the city. So if you guys want to help me move, because I got attacked recently during Pride Month and I got my car stolen, I don't have a car anymore, I would appreciate that. So I'm kind of forced to read more about this stuff because I can't really leave my house and I'm kind of stuck in my room, especially considering this heat wave. Don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of glazed like a chicken right now. It's very agitating. Have a lovely day or night wherever you're at, and I'm out. Peace. Bye.
I'm your Nick and Night, be my Laurel. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.